Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome back to Booted. Thank y'all for being so patient in chat, or not really patient at all. I know I was kind of teasing you there for a minute, but welcome back. It's good to have you all here. If you guys are first-timers, welcome. There is a video somewhere else on the channel explaining how this show works. I'm not going to get too into it, but this is Season 2, Episode 2, so we're about halfway. After today's episode, we're going to be halfway through the season, which is very exciting. They're very short little seasons condensed into each month of the year. And this particular season is focused around budget rigs. So all these PCs are really trying to make do with really the limited budget that these builders have. We've got 5 new contestants today, and we had 5 contestants last week as well. And we did come out with a finalist last week, who was Riker. Now, this is Riker's system. He was last week's finalist, the first finalist for Season 2 here, with his Trash 5000 build. Now, the live audience, you guys, voted on this system, so you can't criticize me. But actually, I kind of like what good old Riker did here. He kind of knew where he stood. He was very self-aware of the limitations that he had with this system. As you can see, he used pretty much a shoebox with gaff tape for a power supply shroud, but he kind of ran with it, and I really like that. He just kind of owned it, more or less. And so this is his system. He's got a really nice cryorig H7 in there, beautiful CPU cooler, and for the amount of money he spent, it actually doesn't look too bad. Like I said, there are a couple MacGyver moments in this system, but altogether I think it was one of the stronger contenders for last week's episode. So congratulations, Riker. We will be seeing you in week 4 in the final round later this month as you compete against 2 other finalists, one of which will be chosen by the end of tonight. Very exciting stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Also on the agenda, we do have a sponsor spot. So sponsored once again by the ever amazing Fantex. Where are you guys? There you are. Fantex, you guys are killing it. You've been killing it ever since you joined the PC, I don't know, the PC case market with all of your cases. Your cases are brilliant. And you have this new power splitter. I shouldn't say it's brand new, but it's one of your newer items. And for those of you unfamiliar, the power splitter, well, let me go ahead and show you this handy dandy video that they got right here. How convenient. The power splitter is essentially this module where you plug one power supply into the input, and it's got 2 power outputs, so you can actually power 2 systems with one power supply. And not only can you power both of them simultaneously, but you can, of course, run them independently. You can see one's powered on, the other's powered off, and vice versa. So really handy little unit, especially if you're going to do a dual system chassis. Speaking of which, they have this N02E02 Mini XLDS, which would go perfectly with such a device like the power splitter. So these two could really make a killer combo. This is a dual system chassis. Very awesome. I actually have one of these that's been collecting dust in my hallway that I've been really slacking on doing a video on. I'm actually kind of waiting until I have enough parts to do a dual system build. Maybe have a gaming system down here with the micro ATX, and then maybe a streaming system up here, so you could actually get a lot more performance for your hardware if you have a dedicated streaming system. There's a lot of possibilities there, but altogether, really good stuff, Fantex. Thank you again for sponsoring this little show here. We do appreciate it, and we'll be taking a look at some of their other stuff coming out later this month, and we'll circle back to that later. But on to our first victim, our first contestant, I should say. I'll try to be a little less harsh. I know you guys are very sensitive. This is the internet, after all, and some of you guys are like, Callie, you're pretty harsh, you know? Don't point out the stick in someone's butt unless you notice the toothpick that's in your eye. That's a famous saying. I'm pretty sure that's how it goes. So I'll go a little bit more easy on you guys today. But this is number 1, Mac. PC number 1 is Mac, and I like that name. That's a cool name. I'll name my future son that. Or my future daughter, if she's up for it. So you got a Cooler Master Silencio 352, nice little budget case. You've got an AMD FX 8320, also really good bang for the buck processor there from AMD. CPU coolers, a CM Cooler Master Hyper 412S. You've also got an Asus motherboard in there, 8 gigs of G-Skill Sniper RAM, an R9 270. Nice little budget card in there from Asus nonetheless. And a pretty nice power supply for a budget system. The RM series from Corsair is pretty sweet. for the money you get, for the money you pay for it, and you managed to get a 250 gig Samsung 840 EVO in there, but it doesn't look like you have a hard drive, actually. So that would be my first concern, is if you are playing games on this, which you might be, if you have an R9 270. I mean, if you weren't playing games, and you weren't doing multi-monitor or something like that, you could probably just run off of some integrated graphics. Although, yeah, I don't know how that would work. Yeah, scratch that. So you've got a light gaming system here, but I'm a little bit concerned about your storage priorities. I don't know, if you're going super budget, which it looks like you are, I would almost prefer a larger capacity hard drive over a smaller, faster SSD, for example. However, if you're just doing some really light gaming and the games that you really want to play aren't very large, then hey, it works for me. I have no complaints there. Just something to point out. What else we got here? So it looks really clean from this angle. Cable management is on point, and again, going back to that power supply, I mean, the cables alone make it worthwhile. It just looks so much cleaner here with some black flat cables that, I don't know, really cleans things up. And you've managed to tidy them up fairly well. There's not a bunch of, wires hanging out at the front here. By your two fans. I do also like how you have two front intake fans. I think that was a wise choice, even though the R9 270 is not going to get very hot. Your other components could use some airflow. It's never going to hurt. And let's take a look at the money shot. Money shot. All right. I'm trying not to make this about your photography skills, because the flash right now, or not even the flash, but just the glare and reflection is killing me. But focus on the PC, Cal. Focus on the PC. Yeah, I mean, this is looking pretty good, man. I also like how you threw in a Be Quiet Silent Wings 2 fan in the back in that rear exhaust. That's a really nice fan. I actually just put two of them in my R9 Nano build in the Node 202, and those have been doing a really good job. I've actually been seeing like 3-4 degrees cooler temperatures on the R9 Nano after installing those fans. So I like how you've kind of made this a premium feel. You've kind of created a premium feel here with your very budget system. And can't go wrong with a Hyper anything from Cooler Master. Cooling your CPU. I think that's good. Got a few optional shots here, which were a little confusing. I mean, maybe you're just really proud of that power supply, and I guess I can't fault you too much for that. And you're also very proud of this Asus heatsink that's on your motherboard, which is why you sent me an entire picture dedicated to only that. But that's cool. Oh, I almost revealed your cable management shot. That would be bad. Mac, altogether, pretty solid, my man. Pretty solid. Not too much to complain about here. I do wish, however, you had taken that sticker off of the top of your power supply there. That is a bit of an eyesore. Altogether, not bad. Let's move on to Robert. Roberto. Oh, Roberto. I don't know why every Robert I come across, I have to introduce them as Roberto. I don't know. It's probably offensive in some way. You've got a Thermaltake Versa H22. I'm drinking a cab, by the way. Some Cabernet Sauvignon. Oh, it's delicious. So you've got a Thermaltake case, which I'm not too familiar with. It definitely is budget, though. You've got a G3258, solid dual-core processor in there. Just did a video on that. Stock cooler, MSI H81, so you're on the H81 platform. You've also got 8 gigs of RAM and R9 270 as well. So this is another similar video card, except this one's from Gigabyte. And you've also got a 1 terabyte Seagate Barracuda. So you want the more, like, I don't know, the more common route of a budget PC, where you just invest in one mechanical drive and you save up for the SSD later, which, you know, we saw a different kind of strategy with Mac earlier. But I think both can work depending on your use case needs. And you got a Roswell Fortress in there, 650 watt power supply. And I know that is for sure 80 plus certified. Okay, so looking out the side profile here, you've got some gold. You've got, oh, gold, I love gold. And, you know, I can dig it. I can actually dig it. I think that I'm kind of amazed how your makeshift power supply shroud, or your power supply cable shroud anyway, and the copper trim that you put on the video card there matches perfectly with the Aries dims. And I think that's the native color. I don't think you spray painted those. We can take a closer look at the money shot. Yeah, that's the natural color of those dims. Aries and their funky colors. And you've managed to match that up with the video card and cable shroud quite nicely. I don't know what exactly you use, some kind of, I don't know if it's wrapping paper or whatever, but it looks pretty good. I mean, for a homemade job, for a hack job thing, I mean, it looks better than the Trash 5000. I'm sorry, Riker, but I think Roberto definitely has you beat in that arena, at the very least. So I like the copper theme. It definitely adds some personality to what would otherwise be just a dime a dozen budget rig. And I think that's the hardest thing about budget systems, is to give your really cheapo PC a personality when you don't have much moolah to work with. And you've managed to do that here, mostly through DIY means, and I like that. It's cool, man. It's very cool. Let's take another closer look at this money shot. You've also put a black sticker on top of your Intel stock cooler, and I think that is a great idea as long as it's executed well. And it looks pretty good here. Season 1's winner, the grand prize winner, Hano, he did the same thing, but his sticker, or whatever it was all bubbly, and it looked like DiGiorno pizza, you know, that had just burnt really badly right on top of his stock cooler, and it didn't look all that great. I gave him a hard time for that. But you managed to do a pretty good job here. It is noticeable. I can tell that it's clearly either a sticker or construction paper or something, but for the most part, it looks a lot better than Hano, so good on you, mate, for that one. And yeah, I'm very curious to know what that cable shroud here by your power supply is made of, because it looks pretty solid. It doesn't look too cardboardy. It looks very flat and straight. I'm wondering if it's just a piece of metal that you put some copperish accent on. I'm very curious. Maybe I'll email you later and find out. And cable management isn't horrible. Obviously, you're working with a case that isn't exactly tailored for that, but I think you could have probably routed those two SATA cables along with your front panel connectors, because it looks like they're going two different ways, and I feel like you could have consolidated those a little bit better. And there's also some cable mess that's below your hard drive in the tray. I guess I can't fault you too much for that, because, again, crappy cases, man. Crappy cases. They really do make a big difference. Let's go ahead and move on to PC number 3. Ian, you are lucky that you're even on this show, and I'll tell you why, my friend. I'll tell you why. Because initially I said, whoever submits a portrait-oriented photo will be automatically disqualified. But I didn't disqualify you for some reason. I was like, you know what? Screw it. Bring him in. Let's, everyone, you know, I feel like the college that I was accepted to. I'll just take anyone at this point. But luckily, this was your only portrait photo. But guys, if you're going to submit your PCs to Booted, make sure it's landscape. No one wants to see this shit. Looks like it was taken on an iPhone. Only iPhone users do that. Damn you all. Also, speaking of which, really quick side note that I forgot to mention at the beginning of the episode is that at the end of the show tonight, I will be announcing the theme for Season 3. And at the rate things have been going, you guys can probably guess it's fairly predictable what the theme's going to be, but there are a few more details involved than what you might think. So stay tuned for the end of the show. I will be announcing not only the theme, the PC theme, but also the submission dates. So if you're interested in submitting your rigs, you'll know exactly which dates you can do that. Yeah, fun stuff. Stay tuned for that. All right, so you've got a LeaderTech gamer case, which I've never heard of. Not too surprising. A Core i5 4460, strong Haswell CPU there. You've also got a stock cooler, a B85 motherboard from Gigabyte, 8 gigs of RAM from Crucial Ballistics Sport, and an R9 270. This is like the episode of the 270s, the R9 270s. That's three R9 270s in a row, and I did not plan that. I kind of randomized these entries for today. 400 watt power supply, and a 1 terabyte Seagate Barracuda. All right, Ian, see what you're working with here. All right, I said that I wasn't going to be very harsh on today's episode, so you know, you got ketchup and mustard. You got some ketchup and mustard in there. It's just the nature of the beast dealing with a budget system, and I'm not gonna knock you any points, even though the points in the show don't matter anyway. I'm gonna leave that entirely up to the audience if they want to, you know, look right past it, then by all means. However, the stock cooler, I mean, yeah, the blue sticker kills it for me. It always does. I mean, Roberto did a really nice job with that, as we just saw, covering it up. And also the, you know, here's a tip for you, Ian, and for anyone else who this might apply to in the future. The Intel stock cooler, the best thing I like to do, what I like to do is actually, I would flip this cooler 180 so that the cable lead, the cable would actually lead right out from the top. And I wouldn't use the routing latches around the cooler because you can still see it. I mean, it routes the cable, but it's still visible. So I would have just flipped it 180 and just tucked it underneath the power supply out of sight. I mean, even if it's not completely out of sight, it's still right underneath the power supply, so you get a nice shadow covering it. You don't see it as much. But you know what? For this crappy little LeaderTech gamer case that you have here, your cable management's pretty on point, sir. I will give you points for that. You're definitely not afraid of zip ties, which is really good. You've done a nice job tidying them up, and also keeping them kind of towards the motherboard tray, towards the side of your case, and not just dangling right in the center, as to impede any airflow that might be coming from the front of your system. Now, I'm not sure if you've got a front intake fan. I hope so. Here's another look at your video card there. Yeah, the case is really your limiting factor here. But for what you've managed to do with the case, I think I'm pretty impressed. By the way, you need to really dust your system, and the PCB on your video card is pretty bad. So that would be probably my biggest critique here. And maybe in the future, get some DIMMs with heat spreaders on them. That might look cool. Yeah, maybe get some little heat spreader action in there. It is quite dusty. That's right. All right. Thank you, Ian. Let's go ahead and move on to PC number 4. Woo, it's getting hot in here. Jesus. And I don't turn the AC on because it's noisy for you guys. I just sacrifice so much for you. For all of you. I know I'm awesome. All right, Josh, back at it again with the Fractal Core 1000. Now, if this is Fractal Josh, who submitted his crappy budget rig, and he's repping Fractal, I'm gonna strangle you. When I first saw this, I couldn't stop laughing, because his name's Josh, and it's a Fractal case, so I instantly think Fractal Josh. For those of you who don't know, Josh is a close buddy and, I don't know, colleague of mine in the industry who works at Fractal Design. They make good cases like this one. And he's known for being a jokester, so wouldn't be surprised if this was him. But no, it's definitely not him. I can confirm. The email address was definitely not something that Josh would have signed up for. But here we go. We've got an AMD A10 7850K paired with an R7 360. Oh, you broke the cycle. I was hoping for a 270, but you know, I can only dream. But you know, that's cool. If your GPU ever dies, you could just do some light gaming off of that APU. Not bad. That ain't bad, yo. You've also got an A88X motherboard on the FM2 Plus socket. You didn't specify how much memory you had, and I didn't care to check, but I'm guessing you've got 8 gigs. You probably got 8 gigs. You've got an R7 360 in there. I can probably guess you've got 8 gigs in there. You've got a Cooler Master TX3. All right, that's kind of a smaller cooler. I think there's a 90mm fan on that, or an 80mm fan. I'm not sure. And you've also got a 1 terabyte Seabait Barracuda. I don't know. EVGA 430 watt power supply. All right. So looking at this thing, let's go ahead and take a look at the money shot. Yeah, you know what? All the cable management in these systems is pretty good today. Cable management is on point. Good job, budget people. And the thing about the Core 1000 and cases like it, and a lot of the other cases that we've seen today, is that you don't really have the option to route any cables behind the motherboard tray like you would with a mid-range or high-end case. So you really are limited to, you know, you got to be more creative. And cable management really does take a bit more time and thought. You kind of got to plan a roadmap to how to best get rid of all these cables out of those hot spots. But seems like you did a good job here. You've got a lot of cables that are hovering up here in the 5¼ inch bays. I wish that the cables on the bottom, where your I/O connectors are, your front panel connectors, were a bit more tight. You could have maybe zip tied those together instead of just letting them all run freely at the floor of your case. I think that would have been cool. But you know what? This is a really well put together system. Let's take another look at this money shot. Can't really see too much here. Obviously, you know, cables aren't the prettiest, but what are you gonna do? It's a budget system. Now this is interesting because you've got some LED action going on here, but it looks like the light source is coming from outside of your case. Like the front of your heatsink is illuminated, but really nothing else is. So I'm guessing you just have like a purple light somewhere in your room that you're casting down on here, but you wanted to throw that in as an optional picture. And you've got the second one here, where there's more pink or purple lighting coming from an external source outside of your case, but we also see a new addition here. You've revealed a front fan. I think that's a 120, because that's what the only type of fan that the Core 1000 supports, and it has a purple LED in it. So you put a purple LED fan in here, and I like that. Points. I don't know why. I just like it. All right. I have no bias. I don't like girly colors in systems, PCs. That's shut up. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I have like a weird. I almost said fetish. It's not a fetish. Shut up. Stop putting words in my mouth. I like it when I see budget systems that have personality. I don't know what it is. It's like they're people too, except they're not people. They're people with video cards in them. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of like that. Good call on the purple fan there, Josh. Yeah, buddy. All right, let's go on to our fifth and final contestant for today, who is Lester. Good old Lester. That's a fun name. Lester. Sounds like a villain's name, like a super villain. You must. I don't know. I'm not gonna do anything right now. Diablo Tech. I already don't like this case. Diablo Tech has been known to make some crappy products, but because they're dirt cheap, right? And if it's what you can afford, it's what you can afford. However, regardless of that, I'm not too sure why you are missing some crucial elements here on the case, including a 5¼ inch panel on the front here, and also all of your expansion slots except one. So I don't know if you lost them. I don't know how you'd lose them if you're not installing anything there. But this just seems like an open invitation for dust in your system. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. I'm not sure. But yeah, you've also got an FX 4100 here, as well as a GTX 460, kicking it old school. All right, so there is a bit of quite a bit of cable clutter. I have to say your cable management is probably the weakest out of the competition here today, Lester. Sorry about that. Also, look at that power supply. Holy moly! That is a sight for sore eyes. Mergerdners. I do like how you have a fan right here at the front that's right next to your GTX 460. I'm sure that thing can get hot once in a while. But yeah, I mean, it's not horrible. I wish it was a lot cleaner. I wish you would take that power supply sticker off and save us all a migraine. But you know, I like that you have a lot of airflow in this system. That's one thing I will say. It does look like there's no shortage of intake for any of your components here, and that's good. Also, what's up with the optical drive? What's it called? Like words. The optical drive isn't even plugged in. There's like no power. There's no SATA. Anything. It's just hanging in there. It's just hanging out. It's just collecting. You know, just not paying rent. I don't know. It's weird. Weird, bruh. I hope you know you need to plug it in. I hope you don't just think like, damn, this optical drive doesn't work, It's never worked since the day I got it. I hope you know that you actually need to power it on and plug in the data cable in order for it to do its thing. Just throwing it out there, Mr. Lester. Alright, I think that's pretty much it for the 5 contestants. Rest in peace, headphone users. Do you guys notice that I'm really red? I'm super sunburnt because I was snowboarding this weekend with my wife and Paul, actually, from Paul's Hardware, and some friends. And I didn't put sunscreen on because I'm like, no, I'm brown. I'm brown. The sun doesn't pay attention to me. It doesn't care. It's like, that one's brown. I'm not gonna attack him today. But no, apparently the sun does not discriminate, and I like that. I have more respect for the sun now than I ever had before. Only after it's burned my face. But so sorry if I'm scary right now. So guys, at this point, my beautiful wife is gonna be posting some crap in the chat, some links, some very important links. One of which is a photo album set of all the contestants that we've looked at here today. Make sure you look through all of them thoroughly, guys. Pay close mind at the pros and cons of each system. And then the other link that she'll be putting in chat right about now is the voting link, where you guys can vote on which PC deserves to go on to the final round in week 4, which is going to be the 28th, March 28th. Boom. All right, so guys, think very carefully on what who you want to see go on to the final round. Who deserves to go up against the Trash 5000? The Trash 5000 from good old Riker. All right, this is what the today's contender is currently up against. All right, Trash 5000. It ain't no slouch, man. It ain't no slouch. All right, so while you guys are thinking that over considerably and carefully, we're gonna go ahead and take a look once again at our sponsor for today, who is Fantex. Fantex, back at it again with the Evolve ATX. I'm gonna stop saying that one day, I promise. This case is absolutely phenomenal. Dimitri from Hardware Canucks, good buddy of mine, gave this case Chassis of the Year for 2015. That's when it came out, and by golly, do I agree with it. It's just a beautiful case inside and out. Phenomenal internal layout. Just all the bells and whistles, and not too damn expensive for what you get. Just unbelievable build quality and things like that. And also some really nice color choices. Galaxy Silver, super sexy. Our Anthracite Gray. I really like the names of these. Satin Black. I think I'm just gonna buy the one that sounds the coolest. But yeah, really awesome case. Links to all this stuff in the description, by the way, guys. And if you already know about this case and you're like, yeah, it's old news, Kyle. Yeah, Kyle. Don't care anymore, Kyle. You're old, Kyle. Well, do I have a surprise for you, which you guys also probably know about. Later this month, very soon, in fact, Fantex is coming out with a full tempered glass side panel version of the Enthu Evolve ATX. Boom, baby. Look at that. Look at that shit. Oh, God. It looks so beautiful. Oh, I just want to. You don't know what I want to do to this thing. Oh, but yes, this is coming out, folks, ladies and gentlemen. Later, that's not it. Later this month. It's coming out really soon, and it just shows off all of your components that much better. Guess what? The tempered glass is also on both sides of the chassis. So not only are you going to get to look at all of your goodies here, your video card and motherboard and things like that, but you get to see all of your cable management wrapped up nice and tidy as well. So it's good motivation. I don't know, I like showing off that side of your case because it motivates you to give a shit about that side of your system, which is often overlooked. And cable management is cable management. Yeah. Cable management is a very rewarding activity that can bring you lots of joy and entertainment while you're doing it. So guys, if you're interested of any of these things, go ahead and click one of the links below in the description. Woo! You can also buy a shirt like this one. Look it, it's my Stay Positive shirt. Get out of the way, wine glass. You can buy a stay. Oh, I'm sweaty. I'm really sweaty. Is that wine? No, that's probably just sweat. All right, this is getting really disgusting. Go ahead and pick up a shirt if you want. New shirt design coming out really soon. But on that note, ladies and gentlemen, why don't we go ahead and take this to the voting screen. Dun 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 dun. There we go. All right, now I got to cue like the dramatic music. It's all creepy and scary now. Okay. So I know a lot of you guys just ruined it by looking at all the results ahead of time. Like, I already know PC number whatever won. But for those of you who have a sense of adventure and a sense of suspense and surprise, thank you for not looking ahead of time. And I still am going to try to find a different survey system that doesn't reveal the results until I want them to be revealed, because I think that'll really amp things up and make things a bit more tense and exciting. But for now, I'll just go ahead and state the obvious and see, and we'll see which of these PCs wins. It's PC number 2. Whoa, again by a landslide. PC number 2, congratulations. And number 1, 4, 3, and 5, you guys gave it your best, but in the end, you were booted. I'm sorry. I am really sorry about that. So that leaves us to PC number 2, who is Roberto! With the copper! Back at it again with the copper power splash round! Woo! Yeah, you know what? This is... Yeah. Live audience, you nailed it. I think this was very deserving of the win. Honestly, it was a pretty close tie, actually. It was a pretty close game here. I think it could have gone slightly different route, but I'm very happy with this decision, and I obviously see why you guys went with good old Robert here. Yeah. Beautiful stock cooler there, buddy. Beautiful stock cooler. We will be seeing you in round 4. Round 4, week 4. Up in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks. So next week, we're gonna go check out the season, the week 3 finalists. We're gonna go. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. What am I saying? I'm tired. Next week is our last week, our last 5 contestants, and we're gonna vote on one more finalist, and then the 3 finalists will compete the week after that in week 4. You guys know how it goes. You guys are familiar by now. I'm sorry that you missed it. You can go ahead and watch it later. It will be re-uploaded. Whoever in chat missed it. But guess what, guys? Season 3 submissions, they're now open. So, the submission period starts now and ends March 21st. You have until March 21st to submit your PC to Booted. Now, bear in mind, this is the theme for Season 3 is high-end PCs. Specifically, rigs that are approximately $1,500 in value or greater. I repeat, approximately $1,500 in value or greater. You can interpret that however you want, like what the market price was at the time when you bought them, or the market price, what they are now. But I think you guys have a pretty good idea of what high-end PCs mean. Now, if you look in the description, also, no custom water cooling allowed. No custom water cooling, okay? That'll have its own separate season later on. So if you guys are interested in, submitting your PC, your high-end rig, to Booted for next month, Season 3, go ahead and check the description below. You'll find a link that leads you here. This is a new page that I just put up, and it's on the AwesomeSauceNetwork.com site. So don't go to the video. I actually privatized the video because it was causing too much confusion and there were too many annotations. It was like diseased with annotations. So this is a lot more simple to grasp a hold of, and just read the instructions carefully, guys. Read the instructions carefully. That's all I have to say if you want to submit your high-end PC to Booted, and all will be well. I'm really looking forward to this next season because, you know, when I first started the show, or when I first announced it, everyone's like, oh, it's going to be a complete money contest. Whoever has the most money to spend on their system is clearly going to win every single season. And that's why I specifically wanted different seasons with different themes to give every tier or multiple tiers of PC builders a chance to win the grand prize. Which is why we're doing a budget season this month, for example, and a mid-range season last month. But you know what? There is something to be said about a really nice, somewhat pricey system, because you have a lot more wiggle room. You have a lot more options when it comes to aesthetics. And I think, you know, we all know by now, you gotta spend a little bit of dough if you really want your rig to pop and look pretty and all that sort of thing. So I think next season is gonna be pretty good. And guys, I don't know where all the good PCs are at. I mean, I was expecting... I don't want to sound harsh on anyone's PC, but I just felt like there would be better PCs this season than last season. So, at the rate things are going, I'd say if you have like confidence in your high-end rig, submit your PC, because so far there have been few systems that have really wowed me in both of these levels. The mid-range and budget. And I feel like, hell, people have a really good shot of winning. They really do, especially right now when the show's so early on. And now we're getting into the dramatic music again, so I'm gonna go ahead and skip over to the happy stuff. So yeah, guys, if you even think you have a remote chance of standing a chance in this series, you should definitely go for it. Make your dreams come true! Okay? Okay. If you guys want to catch Booted Live, airs on Mondays at 5:30 p.m. Pacific on the YouTubes. You can follow me on Twitter for updates. I'll give you the direct links and stuff the day of the stream. And remember, for months that have 5 Mondays in them, there will be no show on the 5th Monday. Lucky for us, March only has 4 Mondays, so there will be a show every single Monday. Every single Monday! Woo! But that's going to wrap it up for now, guys. Thank you so much for joining. If you're watching the rebroadcast, or even if you're watching live, go ahead and leave me a comment. Let me know how the show's doing. What kind of changes would you like to see? Again, this is still in its infancy. Nothing's really set in stone right now as far as the format and little details here and there. So if you have any suggestions, constructive criticism, I would love to hear all about it in the comments. Also, feel free to toss me a like on the video if you enjoyed it. If you hate it, give me a dislike, but also feel free to tell me why. Because I really want this to be a fun experience for everyone. So the more feedback I get, the better we can shape and sculpt this to be a really fun and engaging show. And I really appreciate all of you guys who are tuning in live. I love the live audience, man. I love them. I love them. They're my peoples. They're my peoples. So yeah, thank you guys so much. And have a good night. I'm gonna go ahead and shut up now before I ramble on any longer. I hope you all have a beautiful night, beautiful evening, or morning, wherever you might be living, whatever time of day it is over there, and I will be seeing you guys very soon. New video coming very soon. It should be a fun one. So, yeah. See you guys later. Bye. Bye.